there it goes. Looks like it's just gonna go. Okay. To really get a good zoom on this camera. This camera doesn't zoom very far.
Thing falls, it doesn't grab hold of those forks and turn that tractor over.
Yeah, I hope not. He's done a lot of stuff, hon. He should know what he's doing.
Yeah.
This is what he does for a living, right? Pretty, huh?
He was telling me about all this stuff. He said he went down toward Cleveland and said he cleared out some white oaks.
I heard that. I was sitting here listening.
You hear how much money he made on it?
And those are big ones.
Yeah. But he said if he'd taken the same ones down here, he would have gotten $3,000 for it instead of $28,000.
That's why we didn't. Well, back then they weren't paying that much for lumber anyway when we cleared ours.
Yeah.
That was like 10 years ago. It would have been a real jungle by this time, wouldn't it? Hmm.
Just a little. Hold it. Go.
Oh hell, there it is. Yay! You recognize that building, everybody? You see that? It's coming down. Oh, yesterday my son got up. He ate breakfast. Then he was sitting at the table. And my husband says, "You want a job?" He goes, he narrows his eyes like, what do you got in mind for me? Like he thinks we've lined him a job up with somebody. Like we would do that. But I said, "It's a paying job." He's like, "What?" And because he's waiting for his closing. Everything's done, he's just waiting for his closing. And no telling when it's going to be exactly. It's going to be this month, but he don't know exactly when yet. So he's waiting. And he said, "Well, you know that building out there? We need it taken down." And he said, "We gotta get somebody to take it down. We'll pay you X amount per hour to take down that building." Now my son has been doing things for me. He's been scrubbing my porch railings. He's washed our SUVs. You know, he'll do anything. He keeps asking, "What do I need done?" But this is a huge job, and I would have to pay somebody else to do it. I don't want this thing down because it's been rotting, because we took the roofing off, and so it's been wet inside constantly. The floors are sagging really bad. So he said, "I'll pay you so much an hour to take that building down if you want something to do." And he goes, "Done." He went off to do something, came back, and he got started at 11:45 a.m. yesterday, and he got that much done. I mean, and it still had some of the roost in there, and it still had nest boxes and you know, all kinds of stuff inside. And then he gets to this point and he goes, "You know, Y'all, if we take these, the walls that are still where the 2x4s are still good, he said, if you just take those out in a whole section, he said, you've got framework for your greenhouse. And I said, excellent idea. So we're going to try to preserve the 2x4 walls as in sections. If they're not rotted at the bottom, the back wall's pretty well rotted on the original side of the coop that he started with. And we're going to try to save a lot of sections, like that one big piece of plywood that's standing. That was an interior piece of plywood, and it's in good shape. I'm going to go down there, I'm going to start storing wood that's salvageable. Most of the plywood is not. Most of the outside trim is not, but there's some that is. And we're going to... Price of lumber? You think I'm throwing away anything I don't have to? I'm salvaging every 2x4 I can in that building. So he's going to have this thing pretty well stripped today, and then he'll be ready to take off that roof and take down those wall sections. So we made a list yesterday of all the projects that we want to do. And I'm going to have to come on here and talk to you about my secret project that I mentioned, and tell you the status of that, what it was and the status of it, and why we made the decision that we did in the end. And but this was a big thing on my list. We're getting a dumpster. My husband has a call into the company. He called and they weren't in the office yesterday. I mean, they were, but they said they'd call back and didn't. And it's, you know, today's Saturday, so we're getting a dumpster and we're going to put everything in it. From the big crawl space, all the electronics that don't work, and they'll take everything. And so we're going to rent a dumpster, and we're going to get this place cleaned up. So I thought I would show you that. Yep. Thought I would show you this. I am so happy. He did so much work. I said, you be careful in there. He doesn't have medical insurance. I said, don't step on any of those floors. Step on the floor joists. And oh, here we go. Things are happening around the homestead. Phase 2. He's taking a break. I think we're about to get a rainstorm. This is later the same day. This is still August 7th. So I'm going backwards in time. August 7th. So much rot in there. After not being occupied for 5 years and having the rain come in there for 5 years, it's just a mess. But he only has a partial sidewall and the back wall of that second, that addition. And then we can remove the roof and start taking off those stud walls. And then the floor. Oh, that'll be a mess. It'd be a miracle if the floor joists are intact, but that'd be great if they were. So there we are. More progress. And well, I guess we won't get that dumpster until maybe Monday. I thought I would give you an update on these big babies of Bonnie's. They're 7 weeks old and she's not letting them go. 3 boys, 2 girls. There's a little boy right there. He's so pretty. And there's a pretty little girl right here. A little girl back there by the feeder. And 2 more boys. I say I have a Bruno and 2 Bashes because one is a partridge. And boy, and that right there, grooming himself, that's a Bruno. The other 2 are Bashes. Bruno was Bash's brother that I kept for a while. Yep, aren't they big? They are so big. Oh, so pretty little girl, you're getting friendlier. Yes, you are. Look how pretty you are. Yes, you are such a pretty little sweet thing. Look how beautiful you are, darling. Oh my goodness. Are you getting impatient? I'm going to have to leave the barn because they're going to make noise. No, Mama, you're not. No, I don't want to talk to you, Mama. I'm going to get outside for a minute before the storm hits me. I got to go outside for a minute. We're about to have a big storm, I think. Or at least rain. It's going to be a storm. I'm leaving to go outside this pen. Oh my goodness. I was going to tell you the story of this secret project. It's got a lot of aspects to it, and it's kind of a long story, and I'm not sure how long this video would be if I told it. By the way, that is a potato that ended up outside the bed. It's still growing. Whenever that dies back, I'll see what if I can find the potato attached to that thing. And the potatoes are coming back. I must have missed one when I dug them. All this was just cut and it's all grown back up. I'm so tired of this. And my sweet potato, look at that. I put this little tent there hoping it would keep the deer from wanting to get too close to it. And my sweet potato has taken off. There's another one over there that's trying to. She's been in there. She's actually been in that small section back there. Jumped in there, ate my bean plants that were in there that were left. Other than they're all spent, but crazy deer. You know, my son's closing on his house this month, and it needs a little bit of work. He's getting a home warranty and blah blah blah. Anyway, it's in this market. It's actually a very good price. It was priced well to start with. You're not going to get something that's perfectly fine in that price range in that area in this market. So it's actually not bad. I think he'll like it there. But before all that happened, I began thinking about the times we're living in. Now I may have to tell this story in two parts, but I'm going to start this story. And I conferred with my husband and I said, I think this might be the right thing to do. And I don't know if he will accept this, but I think I might want to offer my son the purchase of our bottom lot, our big lot down there, for him to build on. And he would buy it from me. I would not give it to him. He would buy it from me at a good price. It's a very nice lot, that 1.1, it's just over 1 3/4 acres. It's a nice square lot. Very private down there, more private than this one up here, further away from the neighbors. It just is further away from neighbors. And I don't know when anybody built on those properties surrounding, if ever. So, I'm sorry, I didn't want to get it from the camera. I don't look all that great, been losing so much sleep, but I offered him that, and of course he doesn't really know a lot about building, and he researched it and thought a little bit about it, and it just became apparent he really didn't want to build. He really just wanted to be more able to know what the bottom line was going to be, and he just wanted to move in. He didn't want to go to the trouble of the well, the septic, the permits, this, that, all that junk, and then not really know what in the end what it was going to cost. And so, hence, he decided not to build. But in the meantime, he had a guy come down there, look around the lot and it was going to give him a price on clearing the lot and getting it ready for a house. And not totally clearing, but grading an area. I hear thunder. I may not be able to stay out here. My sweet potatoes are leaving the garden. Look at they're coming out here. Oh my goodness. And the guy never called me back, which is just as well. But in the meantime, I started thinking, no, I've always talked about building on my pasture lot, but really, the bottom lot is much wider, much more private. And I think I might like that one better. And it's already been logged, so there's not a lot of large timber. It's mostly saplings and brush and things like that. It's not a lot of trees left on it. Not real trees. So, my elderberries here. Look at my elderberries. I started thinking about building on that lot. And I started thinking about building a steel-framed house. Because of the cost of lumber. It would cut down on the lumber, use of lumber. And it would be basically fireproof, insect-proof, pretty much. and be built like our barn, except that it would be built to an engineered, certified standard for human living, not for a barn. There's a volunteer pea plant right here, growing up this fence right here. I didn't plant that, it was from last year. And we started researching it. We got a figure from the barn builders, and for a certain size house, I think we'd have to have it larger than that. But we got the folder and got the steel. There's a premium on steel right now. You have to pay like $3,000 more than you normally would have to pay, just because the premium on the steel. And it would have taken, you know, about 14 weeks to even get the steel in. So it wasn't like, oh, I got the permit, let's build now. It wasn't like that. You have to wait. And anyway, but we were thinking about that. And in the meantime, I was pricing out all the systems. And I got it down to where I think that we could get most everything done in the house for about $100,000. The house we're building, it was a very small house, no basement, on a slab, well septic, but it wouldn't include a chicken barn. That'd be another thing. And it doesn't include the lot clearing, and it wouldn't include that kind of stuff. I'd do that beforehand. Well, I got all those figures, and the guy Scotty, who was here cutting, you know, you saw him cutting down this tree right here. It wasn't as rotten as we thought, but it was headed that way. It was getting eaten by woodpeckers. It would have grown a lot more, and then it would have gone rotten. But there's a lot of good wood on this tree. But it was in a precarious position to take out our perimeter fence or our garden, which is right here, or our building up here. So we had it cut. But he was here. We found out he did grading. And he did lot clearing, not just tree cutting, but he did lot clearing. And so we asked him about the price. And so he walked down to the lot and he talked to us about the price and stumping it and all that kind of stuff. Because the pasture lot was stumped, but that one down there was not stumped. So he said, well, it'll be a few weeks, and not, you know, if you want to get on the schedule, just let me know. So I said, well, let's go ahead and tell him we'll get on the schedule now. And if we change our mind, we'll let him know as soon as we can. Here comes the storm. And so we got on the schedule. Then all of a sudden he called and he says, well, I can get you in August 11th. I thought, well, that's not weeks away. That's really fast. And I started thinking, and not last night, the night before, I woke up and it just hit me that even though we could do this now, if this was a booming economy, there would not be an issue. I've paid down my mortgage to about $18,000. I'm almost down there. I could pay it off within a year or less. And I'm close. What I would have to do is take out a refinance on the house for whatever cost to build plus the $18,000. And it would just be until I could build a house and then put this one on the market to sell. And it wouldn't be that long, but I got to thinking of all the things that we've been talking about. The banks closing up where you can't get to your money. Banks going belly up. Calling in their loans. What happens if they call in their loans? I could pay the $18,000. I could scrape it up from like 5 different locations, but I couldn't do it if I owed $118,000. I could lose this house. Now I wouldn't lose the other one because that would be free and clear. But I could lose this one and not make money off of it. So I thought about that, and I thought about the uncertainty. When I saw a year from now, well, I saw lightning. I better get out of here. I saw a black hole. There's so much uncertainty, and you have the thing about getting people to do the work. The barn company's not the problem. I can get them to do the work. I got to get inside. Hang on, I'm going to have to talk to you in a minute. It's not the barn company, and it's not Scotty, the land clearing guy. He's a good guy. He'll do it. But I gotta close the barn. It's not that. It's, you know, people talking about the possibility of EMPs. What if the electric grid goes down? What if the banks go belly up? I have a little community bank. What if my bank goes belly up? What if my bank, you know, no, that's my mortgage company. But what if the bank calls in the loan? The mortgage company calls in the loan. I'm gonna have to cut back to you. Hang on. So sorry, I had to run. It's starting to rain before I got back to the house. So what happens? This is too uncertain. I've got what people call a sure thing right here. And although it would give us the house on the ground that would be elderly friendly, and we had all the doors scoped out as being wide enough for a wheelchair, and bathroom wide enough for a wheelchair. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I ran up to get out of the rain because I had my camera. There was so much that I thought, you know, the old me would have plunged in, you know, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead, kind of. But that was a different economy. This economy, not the right economy. So I said to my husband, I don't want to clear that land if I'm not going to build on it. And I'm not too sure about that. And he said, why don't we just stay here for a while and let's really work on getting this house ready to sell. And so that was the next morning we got my son to get started on that project. So we were at the point of clearing the land and getting it done and getting the loan in place, but we decided this is not the time. And it's not fear, it's just a very healthy sense of caution about the times we're living in. And I just feel something is a pervading sense of this is not exactly the right time yet. Just wait a little longer. And so that's what we're doing. I hope this makes sense. And that was my secret project that is on the back burner now. But I will carry you along with some of the things we're doing here. And I think we're going to see some changes. I may terrace that entire bank right back there. It's so sloped and the water washes down it. There's a lot of things that we have in mind to do here. And I might even show you my list. But that's the end of this video. And so you guys take care. And I'm sorry if comments of yours are disappearing. It's the YouTube Nazi censors, I swear.